Hello, everyone. Tom Lyman here, the Considerate Group, the Joy Hour guy, and in the studio here for a very important topic that I hope will not just help my family, but will help you as well. I'm reading here from the Adams Broomfield DA.org, and the topic is fentanyl. This morning, for quite a while, I had this on my mind. Actually, for all week, I've had drugs and why on my mind. And what I mean by that is, why do people want drugs? So, in this report, there's a few things that caught my attention. Number one, an answer to that question, why, is typically to change the way that we feel. At the root of why a person does drugs is to change the way they feel. So the second part of that question is, why do we need to change the way we feel, and are there other ways to do that? This here fentanyl fact sheet, and I'm going to brief through it today as best I can to help whoever watches this video. What is fentanyl? Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that is made in a lab. I'm going to skip that because more important than what it is why. Why is fentanyl being added to street drugs? Fentanyl is much cheaper to make than other opioids. It is also easier to smuggle because small amounts are very powerful. It is a lot easier to smuggle a baggie of fentanyl powder than a kilogram of bricks and other drugs for the same profit margin. In addition, it is highly addictive, making individuals wanting and needing to buy more as they chase their first high. Why would drug dealers add fentanyl to drugs if they can kill people? Because fentanyl is cheap and so highly addictive, it creates a much greater profit margin. At the root of all issues, you look at the drive and the motivation people have for money and power and greed. Do you think they really care that it kills people? No. It says here it's because it's highly addictive and creates a much greater profit margin. So as time goes by, yes, there's always been drugs, but as time goes by, those drugs change and they become increasingly more and more dangerous. And yet we talk about the problem and how much of it's coming over the border. And yes, that's a problem. And how much of it comes into our country. And yes, that's the problem. Okay, but what is the real reason that people are buying it and wanting it? And that's what I want to focus on today. Whenever this part here is what caught my attention. What can parents do about fentanyl? Now, I have 3 kids. And the last thing I would ever want is them to be hooked on any drugs or alcohol. As you know, in my past, I've had my own struggle with alcohol and substance abuse. I talk on that very openly, very frequently. Today, I'm looking at it from a parent's point of view. What can a parent do about fentanyl? And the answer here in this report says, address any underlying concerns that may lead to your child to take fentanyl intentionally or unintentionally. Parents of fentanyl victims often report that their children took a pill. Now get this, okay? This is the main reason for even doing this video today. The parents of fentanyl victims often report that their children took a pill or other drug to try and deal with issues related to sleep, anxiety, loneliness, or other emotional challenges. I'm going to stop right there and ask, why are children having a hard time sleeping? Why do children have anxiety? Why do children have loneliness? It's called a cell phone. It's the number one drug that is ruining families, that is ruining children. Parents, we've got to talk on this more, bring awareness to this. There are measures and controls that can be put in place to where, yes, a phone can still be a phone, but it is not in a person's hand, especially a child's hand, till midnight, 2 in the morning, just scrolling openly the internet and everything that goes on with those devices. That is where the anxiety, that is where the loneliness comes in. That is where the issues with sleep comes in. Parents of fentanyl victims report that their children took a pill to try and deal with issues related to sleep, anxiety, loneliness. That's the issue. That's how we stop this. You guys know I speak on connection quite a bit. If at night a child has dinner at a dinner table with loved ones and maybe watches a show as a family, maybe plays a board game as a family, maybe plays charades, maybe goes outside, maybe goes on a walk, all these different things as a family with people that love them. Then at night, there's a wind down time. And then there's good sleep. There's a sense of feeling loved, feeling accepted, feeling valued. And that's what the children are longing for. At all ages, that's what we long for. But today I'm specifically talking about kids and youth and how much they long for that connection. And so when the phone's in their hand and they're laying there in bed until 2, 3 in the morning, scrolling TikTok or any other platforms that are just consuming all of their time and making them feel inadequate, making them feel lonely and anxiety, then yeah, it's obvious why they'd want to change the way they feel by taking drugs or alcohol. And these days, it's not just a simple, hey, let's smoke a joint. Hey, let's have a little a drink. These drugs are getting more and more dangerous. I just last week read the report about the son of the YouTube CEO. Breaks my heart. This is on the daily that we hear these reports. I think it's well over 200 people a day right now dying of overdose. Bring awareness to your family. Bring awareness to the families that you're impacted with. We absolutely have a job to do better at talking about these things at early ages and bringing awareness to our families on how big of an issue this is. It says here, talk with your kids about fentanyl. They likely know someone who has died from fentanyl poisoning or overdose. Share concerns fentanyl raises for you both. Don't threaten, but talk about risks that even one pill from someone they can trust can kill them. A naive mistake can be deadly. Keep an eye on your kids' backpacks, room, car, or phone. Fentanyl is most often smoked using a pill crusher, small piece of tinfoil, lighter, and straw to inhale the smoke. Other items indicating use may be needles, small mirrors, scales, blotter paper, unlabeled candies, blue M30 pills. It goes on here. This is the last key part I'm going to talk about. It says, be aware of what your child is doing on their phone. Pills and other drugs are now often purchased through Snapchat, gaming platform, chat functions, and other dark websites. Today, there are about 9,300 websites selling drugs illegally on the dark web, according to the Center for Addiction and Substance Abuse. 1 in 5 teens have already tried prescription drugs illegally. The majority, 76% of these teenagers, buy these prescription pills illegally. Take a look at this report again, adamsbroomfieldda.org. There's a million different articles online you can look up. But myself as a parent, I have a job to do, and that's to not put my head in the sand and think it couldn't happen to me, but to be aware that there is a need to bring awareness to my family and to make sure that the needs of my children are being met and that they're feeling loved and they're feeling valuable and they're feeling important, not feeling lonely and feeling anxiety and having a hard time sleeping. If they're having a hard time going to sleep, it's my responsibility as a father of my home to tuck them in, to pray with them, to love them, to tell them they're valuable. So parents, out of love, I'm asking you Step it up. Do more research. Don't think that it couldn't happen to you. I get phone calls every week, talk to people every day about these topics, and it's breaking my heart that we so easily could fix these issues. We take away the phone, we give them a hug, we play some games, we go on a walk, we read a book. That's what we'll fix and solve the future drug issues of our country. Thank you.